Hello, welcome back to the Student Pages podcast. I'm joined today by Rhenzy Feliz. How are you, Rhenzy?
Doing amazing. Thank you for having me.
Rhenzy, the star of Marvel's Runaways and the upcoming film All Together now. And how are things, Rhenzy?
Things are pretty great. I'm pretty excited for the movie to come out. I've seen it at least 57 times by now, just like out of nervousness. So things are pretty good though. I'm excited with how the movie came out.
Do you get to like take a copy of it home and you can just watch it as much as you like?
Netflix like sends over like not even a link. They just sort of put it. It's so weird. They sort of put it into your profile on your Netflix account. So you can't really share it with anybody. You can't. You have to log into your account, into your profile. There's a pin. You put the pin in, and there you can find the movie. You can see the movie
Oh,
like that.
that's so cool. So you actually get to watch it on Netflix. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
What was do you want to explain to people like what the film's about and who you play in it?
Yeah, the movie is called All Together now. I guess originally it was called sort of like a rock star. It's based on the novel, and it's about this girl. She's a pretty optimistic girl who's got these dreams of going to Carnegie Mellon, but life is pretty difficult for a lot of people, and hers including. And we sort of follow her on this journey where she's going through a couple obstacles, and sometimes it takes more than just one person to be able to get through them. So she kind of leans on her friends, and that's sort of where I come in. I play Ty Hendricks. He's kind of like a shy teen kid who really is just like loves this girl who because she's such like a beautiful kind soul, and he's like in love with her, and but she's also the type of person who isn't very accepting of help, which is an understandable thing. It's a very vulnerable thing to ask someone like, I need help, I need you. And so she's going through a tough time, but hopefully you have good enough friends that can help you get through the tough times.
Nice. Was it a fun film to work on?
It really was. It was my first film I got to work on. So that for me was like super exciting. Yeah, we were up in Portland for like a month and a half from October in 2019 till about mid-November. And that for me was amazing. It was like the best. I couldn't have asked for a better first experience.
Sweet. Sweet. Did you get close with a lot of the cast members, or were there any like funny moments from set you can tell me about? Or
Me and Ali got pretty close, I guess. We were the only two. She plays the lead. We were the only two people there the entire run of the movie. Everybody else sort of came in for a week or 2 weeks, and so her and I were the only ones there for that month and a half, apart from the crew, of course, and the director. So we did get to spend a lot of time together. Plus, we were the only ones like our age, and so we got to go out and like I'd never been to Portland. She'd never been to Portland. We got to go out and explore the city and go out and do hikes and stuff. We're supposed to be pretty close in the movie, so it only made sense that her and I like spent time together and got sort of close and comfortable that way. I made an effort, and I think she did too, just so that whenever we're on set doing these kind of emotional scenes or like vulnerable scenes, you just sort of feel a little more comfortable with that person to try something new, to not feel like they're going to think you're weird if you do a line a certain way or something. And so we did get pretty comfortable, and I hope that like sort of shows up where that comfortability sort of shows up, that ease on screen. But I guess some fun things on set. That first week we shot this song. There's like this beautiful song in the movie, and they had to teach me how to play piano. I'd never played piano in my life. It was awful, god awful. They sent in a piano teacher, like a pianist, to teach me how to play the first like 10 seconds of the song, which is what they needed, and the last 15 seconds. That's what the middle they could sort of cut around and edit around or whatever. I think they gave her like 4 classes. By the second class, I had already figured out the first 15 and the last 10. So I said, can we just learn the rest of the song? Like, since I already paid for the classes, can we just learn it? She goes, yeah, sure. And so she teaches me the rest of the song. And there I am, like, now there's about, from that point to when we started shooting the movie, I had about maybe 3 weeks to learn it. And so every single day, like maybe 5 hours a day, I'd be sitting on this little keyboard they gave me after she'd leave, and I would just be tearing my hair out trying to learn how to play this song. Because I don't know how to, like, a lot of people learn in like chords, and so you'll play the F, you'll play the C, you'll play the G. I'm learning it like placing each of my fingers on each of the white keys, moving my left index finger up one, my middle finger down one, my right. And so it was difficult to learn, but after a long, long time, I figured it out. But I didn't tell anybody. And so I get on set, and they ask me, all right, so can you play the song? And I say, yeah, sure, of course. And so we start to go, and now he realizes he doesn't have to cut around me. He can it gives him much more freedom to shoot however he wants now. And that
yeah,
he was super excited about that. So that was like a fun moment that I had.
That's great. I love that. You should keep it up. You should keep playing keys.
I need to get a key. That's the thing. I need to get a keyboard, put it in my room so that I can keep sort of learning. While I was out there, after I'd learned the song already, I started learning other ones. And I love music. I love to just do it like on my own. It's just like a nice hobby of mine. I play the guitar also, and so I should keep up with the piano. You're right.
I've had a ukulele in my room for all of lockdown, and I didn't really play it that much before. It's one of those ironic instruments that you're not like actually supposed to get good at, right? But then like because it's in my room, I just like it's so easy to such a small light instrument. I've just been like picking it up and just banging stuff
Yeah.
up. And I've got pretty good like over lockdown. Like I'm quite happy with how that's going.
Okay.
It's so much fun. You forget that like before, like the Beatles always saying it before the internet and TV. If you wanted to stay entertained in your house, one of the easiest ways just to play instrument, just play an instrument, so sitting around.
Yeah. It's sort of it's an easy way to get into yourself. I'm like a pretty. I love songs that are pretty like emotional and stuff like that and sappy and whatever. But it in those moments it sort of helps me. I don't know. It helps me like get in tune with myself sometimes. Certain songs obviously make you feel a certain way, and I would bring it on set all the time also. And yeah, it's great. It's a great thing to learn how to play an instrument. I love it.
Yeah, I love like I'll play my ukulele and pretend I'm like in my head like I'm famous or something. I'm at a party and I've banged it out, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is like he's
You can really play."
playing it ironically. He's playing
Yeah.
it unironically. It's so incredible."
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Anyway, but so yeah, you're 22, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 21. We're a couple of young dudes. Are you
Yeah.
1998 or 97?
You're 97. Yeah, I'm 97. But you're lucky over there because across the pond you guys have been drinking since 18, huh?
Yeah.
Quote unquote 18, probably.
Man,
Yeah, before.
do you know what? Because I turned 21 in lockdown, I would have been so mad if that was like the legal drinking age. Like,
Yeah, I got lucky because my 21 was obviously well before, but I have a couple of friends that turned 21 during lockdown, and that we're still waiting on doing it the right way instead of at a park with a few beers.
That's the way. You ever been to the UK before though?
Yeah, I have. I was in London just before I started. I went. Where did I go? Russell Square. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, that's not too far from me. I'm in Islington now. That's like 2 stops away. I was there the other day.
Oh, no way. Okay, we stayed there for a few days, but we were there like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we tried going out, but there wasn't much happening when we went out. It was a few years ago, like 2017, I think, maybe 2017.
Yeah. People always take the piss out of British food. Maybe that's more Europeans though than Americans.
Genuinely, I went over there and I went to Dishoom. It's this Indian place. It was really, really good. So people do give a lot of shit. Yes, the best. I also got into Nando's while I was out there.
Oh yeah,
we went a few times. That's the thing of people talk about it all the time. And so we went. I really liked it. I like what's that sauce? It's like the lemon garlic one. Yeah, maybe the peri peri.
Oh, that's like the least spicy one, the lemon and garlic.
Oh, it's because I can't. It's because I'm weak. I'm Dominican. And Dominicans are their palate. I didn't have spice. I don't think till I was a teenager. So I am weak when it comes to spice.
No way. What, Dominicans don't have like spicy food?
Nothing. No spice in our cuisine.
What kind of thing? What's like your favorite Dominican dish?
Oh man, there's so many. There's one called mango, which is a weird name. Now that I say it out loud. Which is it's like plantains. It's like mashed plantains. You make them with salami and then you fry some cheese up. That's one of my favorites. My dad would make that for me all the time. The classic is arroz habichuela, which is just rice and beans. But like it's done so well, or it's different than just like I don't get rice and beans from anywhere else. I don't like rice and beans from anywhere else. The way that my grandma makes it or my mom makes it, or the people who the Dominicans make it, it gives it a certain taste and stuff. So it's crazy. That's the stuff those are probably a couple of my favorite ones.
I think I had, because there aren't many Dominicans in the UK, but I think when I was in New York, I went to a place. the Dominican food, and I had something. I think it was called like mofongo or something.
Oh yeah,
And it
I
was
think I know the place you're talking about.
oh no, wait, no. I don't, it was in it wasn't like a fancy, it wasn't like a well-known place. It was in like we were staying in Brooklyn.
I think I know the exact place you're talking
No
about.
way, no way.
I think because I was in New York a few when was it? I think the year before last, or actually last year, 2019. And we were doing Comic Con, and we were doing New York Comic Con for a show that I was on. And on our way from the airport to the hotel, I was like, I have to stop and have Dominican food. Like in New York City, there's so many Dominicans in New York, they make
Yeah, yeah.
authentic Dominican food. And so I was like, I have to stop. And I think I'm almost positive that's where I stopped. I'm not entirely sure, but that rings such a bell that I'm like, it must be where it was.
I doubt. I don't know if you would have been staying in the same place if you were like, like the star of the Comic Con booth. You know, what's that
they
like?
they they it's nice. They put us up in a nice place. We don't have to necessarily stay ourselves. They put us up in a place in Manhattan. There, it's super nice.
I'm gonna ask you about the Runaways because
Okay.
this conversation has sort of run away with us. But how similar do you feel that you are to your character Alex in the Runaways?
I wouldn't say too similar. I mean, he's very different people by the time we start and end. So if I'm looking at it from the beginning of the series, he's a pretty shy dude, pretty insecure, in a very hurt place. So I don't see myself too much in that light. I'm more of like I think I talk a little bit more than he does. I'm a little more obnoxious than he is. But in terms, maybe by the time he finishes, he's then he's gone through a lot. He's in a very dark place at the end where human life is doesn't matter nearly as much, I think, as it did at one point. So not too similar to the guy, but I guess in ways there's a lot of things I admire about him. He's very he has this like really good sense of what's right and wrong, and he's willing to put his life on the line in order to right wrongs, which is an admirable thing.
Were you a Marvel fan prior to getting that part?
I definitely was a Marvel fan, yeah, for sure. I wasn't familiar with the comic itself because obviously it was a comic before they turned it into a TV show. But I was before I got the part. Between me auditioning and me getting it, I read up as much as I could of the comic, and by the time I got the part, I was very familiar with the comic. Yeah.
Nice. And which part were you most excited? Which part of season 3 were you most excited for people to see? Were you like checking Twitter and stuff? Like,
I did. I actually lost my Twitter like soon after season 3 came out, so I haven't been able to get it back since. I've even talked with Twitter support, and I don't know, I can't get the damn thing back. But
yeah.
I know it's so weird. But for season 3, I was checking when the third episode. I knew that was sort of there's a twist in the third episode where Alex becomes not necessarily Alex. I don't know if I want to. There's a twist that happens where Alex becomes like an evil Alex, and that part was the most exciting for me to watch because I knew it would be not that necessarily it would be surprised. There could only be so many people that it was, and we knew that someone was coming. But I liked the way we did it because I had seen the episode. I liked how it sort of turns, and then there's like music behind it, and I was kind of excited for that. And I knew the scenes that were coming in the fourth episode where he's running around and threatening babies and threatening, and it was a whole thing, and that stuff I was excited for. And I did check Twitter, and I was happy to see that like people were either shocked, surprised, people were cursing out Alex. It was fun to watch.
And how did your life change? Kind of because it's safe to say that was kind of your breakout role, right? You hadn't been acting for very long,
Right.
and suddenly you were in this amazing show. And how did your life change? Like
Um,
the show came out.
I grew my hair out. That was one thing that was different for me. The show sort of gave me a platform to. It showed people that I could be the lead of something. I had never been the lead of something before, and so I think a lot of people in Hollywood now saw that I could lead something. I went for 3 seasons, and so the fact that we could do 33 episodes is a big deal. And the fact that I was one of the leads of the show, and they got to see 33 hours of content of me doing something like that, and the people who I worked with on that show. That also Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, they're 2 pretty powerful producers and showrunners and creators in Hollywood. And the fact that I have a relationship with them now says something as well. It did help. I started getting recognized a little bit more on the streets and stuff. Not crazy, you know what I mean? I'm not necessarily like not Will Smith, but if I went out a night, I would probably get stopped once a night. So it wasn't intrusive. It wasn't too bad. It was just like one time someone would ask me for a picture, or they'd be like, "Oh, you're on that show, man," and I'd be like, "Yeah, Runaways," and he's like, "Yeah, Runaways, love that show." So what it was nice, you know, people just being nice, people saying they like the show, nothing crazy, but it was cool. It was cool that people were watching.
What about your DMs though? You did it blow up in the DMs or?
Yeah, the DMs blew up too. That was now it's just like I think it's like 99 plus all the time. I don't even
No way.
I check them every now and then just to see what happens in there. But a lot of the times it's people, you know, saying hi. That'll be like a lot of them are just HI, and that's when they want me to like engage. And I'm like, but thanks for saying hi. A lot of people are very nice, you know. They're like, "Oh my God, can't wait to see the movie, can't wait to see the show," or a lot of times it's just nice things. Even the mean stuff that I've read, for some reason, I thought it would affect me a little bit more. It doesn't really affect me. Maybe because I haven't had that much, it hasn't affected me. But I kind of let it roll off pretty easy. I find it kind of funny, to be honest. Now, right after season 1, we got a renewal for season 2, and I knew how much money I was going to make that year. And I said, okay, it'd be smart for me to buy a house now. So I bought one that was nice enough for us all to live in. So that way they could move back to LA. And so for a few years, I lived with my parents in a house out in the valley here in LA. And we just recently sold it. I moved into my own place now. I have a roommate, and now it's just, you know, now I'm living on my own, doing my own thing. But yeah, so that was something nice that Runaways got me, was I got to, you know, be a 21-year-old with mortgage payments.
Oh yeah, I would rinse that so much. One of my friends had a house, like not just like he's renting a place. Like one of my friends had a house. My God, I'd trash that place every opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like my friend's doing that right now. I have this apartment now, and he's been here nonstop.
That's so funny. You know, some friends you invite over like one night, and you just know they're going to end up staying like 2 weeks, and there's just nothing.
Yeah, that's this guy. You nailed him.
Yeah.
But he knows he's welcome. But that's who I asked a second ago who we were. He's the friend that I went to Europe with. He's my best friend. He's like a brother to me. So he's here just all the time, especially this summer. Because normally, you know, they go up to university. He goes to school in Chicago, blah blah blah. And when he comes back home, he doesn't want to live with his mom all the time because he's so used to living on his own. So he lives here with me, basically.
Nice. We're kind of running out of time. I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Can you explain what the bread wars are?
Oh God. The bread wars. So we were on the Runaways set, I think for season 2. I think it was season 2. And there's these prop breads everywhere because we're like homeless kids, but we find whatever. They're like plastic bread. It's like foam. They're foam bread loaves. What's it called? I can't remember the name, but like a baguette. They're like French baguettes.
Yeah.
We got not French. They're like foam baguettes, and I'd be on set, and I forget who threw the first one. I think either Greg did. He threw it at me, and I was like, ha ha ha, funny, and so I thought, like, I gotta get him back, and so like whatever. On one of the next takes we did, on one of the next scenes, I think just before we said action, I threw one at his head. So I throw it, boom, and action. And then we all walk into the scene and he has to pretend like he just didn't get something thrown at him. I was screwing with him a little bit. And so then now he wants to get me back and he wants the one of me. And so he really chucks one at me. Whenever we're like waiting for a setup, we're just sitting down on our chairs and he really chucks it. And I'm like, okay. And so then I pick one up and I start to run after him because he really hit me hard. So I started to run after him. And I think that's when I got the first video on my phone. And he's like running to the bathroom and I'm like chasing him, whatever. And it sort of turns into this thing where me, Jimmy, and Greg on set, two of my other castmates, we were throwing. It was too much. There's videos on my Instagram to sort of show what had happened. It captures most of it, but there was a war zone on set for a little bit, and everyone knew to sort of steer clear, or they're getting caught in the crossfires.
That's so funny. Listen, Rhenzy, thanks so much for talking to me today. This has been so much fun.
No, I had a great time. Thank you.
No, thank you. Honestly, thanks for coming on, and thanks everyone for listening to the Student Pages podcast. Yeah, enjoy your day, Rhenzy. Enjoy your day, everyone who is listening / watching. Thanks so much.